But I bought into this whole nonsense like, fructose, like, you know, the devil. Fructose. Like, it doesn't matter. Fruit is good for you. Vegetables is really good for you. So I'm in the middle of the bald asshole here, and I'm just going to level with you. It is so hot in the UK right now. If I just start sweating throughout this video, you're going to have to look at me and go, what a disgusting, dirty scallywag. And you will be 100% correct. But today I thought, man, maybe I can impart some knowledge and wisdom on these lovely folks on YouTube based on my own experiences. Because I've been lifting weights now, bodybuilding, fitness, gym, whatever, for around about 15 years, around that time. And there are so many things that I would love someone to have mentioned to me before I started doing it, so I didn't have to end up in these ridiculous positions on my own, off my own back. It's all part of my fitness journey. I love it when people say that this is my fitness journey. Like, just walking to the gym. What are you talking about? I'm kidding. Whatever works for you. It is a fitness journey. It's an important. So I broke it right down, and yeah, here's 10 mistakes I made that you should avoid. Number 10 is the most obvious one, is training every single day, right? If you haven't done the reading or you haven't been educated, you just assume, well, I'll train every single day, and surely the more pressure I put my muscles under, the bigger I will get. And you can read certain articles that will say that overtraining isn't a thing. I can tell you from my vantage point, maybe you're a superhuman, hit me up. I'd love to talk to you. I'll do an interview with you. I certainly overtrained. You feel like crap. You're fatigued. The idea of even trying to go to the gym feels like climbing Mount Everest. It is not worth it. Rest and recovery is just as important as going to lift weights. I know we get into this kind of discussion where people go, well, nutrition is more important than training, and training is more important than this. It all works in harmony. You got to be training intensely, you got to be resting intensely, and you got to be eating intensely. You got to be doing all these things. It's a multi-pronged process. But I can't tell you, and even though I was young, so especially sort of in my 20s, your body, it will handle it better when you are younger, of course. But eventually it's like, you're not letting me recover, man. What are you doing? And it screams at you. But, you know, I guess you get kind of addicted and obsessed with it. Just don't ever do it. Don't ever think that even if you're training different body parts every single day, eventually it will catch up to you. I promise you this, and it's a horrible feeling. You feel depressed, it affects you mentally. Balance it out, which actually ties into number 9, which is only training one body part a week. Now, this is something that I only changed in the last 3 years, 2016, so 4 years. It has been one of the most important changes I've ever made. I think 4 years ago, I've been lifting weights a lot, and I was just so drilled into me, you only train chest once a week, you only train arm once a week, you only train legs once a week. Absolutely not. Train them twice. And there's science out there. You can read articles, and we've done this before, but it's basic maths. If you only train them once a week, that's 52 times a year. You do it twice, it's 104. Some people advocate for 3. I think you're then going to move into overtraining territory. Also, how the hell are you going to get it in? There's only 7 days in a week. But I got a trainer when I did my bodybuilding competition in 2017, so I got a trainer in 2016, or a coach. And the first thing he said to me when I sent all my information through was, change to twice a week. And I was like, you know, I thought that was for people that were on all the drugs. He goes, that's absolute nonsense. What are you talking about? But that's what I believed. That's what I thought. I started doing it, and the progress that I made, probably better than all the progress I'd made in the previous 10 years. I crap you not. Again, you got to be eating well and sleeping well, all the things we just talked about. But I kick myself so many times. Who knows where I would be now? Again, the best time to do anything is 10 years ago or today. Well, you can't do it 10 years ago, so you may as well do it today. But if you're not, start training body parts twice a week. Not if you've only just started the gym. You can do one or circuits. You know, don't go crazy, basically. You know, slowly get into it. But if you're a more experienced lifter, I can't recommend it enough. And number 8, you see this on a lot of videos like this. Oh, and I did it too. Overtraining a body part because you think it's weaker than something else. So I used to think, well, I still think it, but I used to think my deltoids, my shoulders were lagging behind the rest of my body. So what I thought I'd do is, well, in every training session, I'll just do some shoulder presses and I'll do some lateral raises. It's the worst idea. All you do is fall into what we just talked about in number 10. It doesn't help your body at all. You just need to ensure that when you are training those in the right way, that you're focusing on them. And again, that you're being intense and that you're doing progressive overload and all the little things. And because symmetry in bodybuilding, I mean, it's more important if you're actually going to do a competition. But you've seen, you don't want to be Johnny Bravo, right? You don't want to have a massive, maybe you do.
But enough about me. Let's talk about me. What do you think of me?
You don't want to have a massive upper body and a tiny lower body, and it was the same with this. Don't think that you can sort of balance everything out just by smashing one body part. Because again, if it's hurting and you've got delayed onset muscle soreness or DOMS, it's probably best to leave it for a couple of more days. You know, let your body do its thing and then attack it again when you're at 100%. I mean, no one's ever at 100%, but you know, when you're feeling better about it. But I did do that, and all it did was make me feel like crap, and I didn't get to where I wanted to be, and then I was a sad pup. Number 7 is crappy form, right? It's going to tie into the next one, but I'll talk about that in a second. I always just used to think, actually, we may as well do them both here. Number 7 is crappy form, and number 6 is lifting too heavy, because they really do interlink with one another. I was always under the impression that just lift heavier and heavier, and I was super young, still in my teens when I thought this. But again, I just thought it stood to reason. The more you lift, the bigger that you will get. And there is some logic to that, but if your form is crap, and again, you're not allowing your muscle to be under tension, with a proper repetition, you're not going to get anywhere. I mean, you'll see some kind of gains and some kind of progression, but it's going to come and kick your ass far quicker than you want it to. It is always best to sacrifice weight for form. There's no counterpoint to that. In my opinion. Like, I was doing it with squats. I used to load up the bar with squats, and my range of movement was like a pea. What does that even mean? A pea's just a round circle. But I was doing nothing. And I kind of caught myself in the mirror one day, and I was like, Simon, this is ridiculous. So I was down in, I've told this story 1,000 times, but I was down in Bournemouth. I was doing some kind of work project, and I went to one of those pay-as-you-go gyms. I stripped the bar. I put a couple of 20s on each side, or 45 pounds for our American friends. And I said, Simon, you're going to do 20 reps, and you're going to go all the way down, ass to calves, and you're going to go all the way back up. And I did that, and I did that. And again, then the week after that, I put on 30 each side, then 40, and I built all the way back up slowly. And it sucked, and it pissed me off, and I didn't want to do it. But now I'm actually able to do a decent, well, not at the moment, the gyms have been closed, but a decent squat and make sure my form goes all the way down and all the way back up. Stick to form first. Of course, the more you can lift, the better in terms of weight, because it just stands to reason. If you're lifting stronger, then your muscles are probably getting bigger, but form has to come first. Number 5 is a favorite of mine, over bulking. Now, I don't mind when I first did this, because I really struggled to put on weight. So I ate and ate and ate and ate to the point, I've told it before, I was putting rice in my mouth and rice was falling out of my face. But what I failed to do is, once I'd expanded my stomach, I just bulked all the time. I would be eating, I crap you not, 250 grams of rice at like 10 p.m. at night. Because I just thought size meant eating. So I ate and I ate and I ate and I ate. If I've got the cojones, I will put a picture here of me when I was at my heaviest. That's just a fat guy. It may not be there. I'm very self-conscious about this stuff. That's just a fat guy. And sure, I was lifting loads. I could do a 275 kilogram deadlift for one. And I went all, I'm going to fall over afterwards. It's not like I was Superman. And people were like, wow. They were like, that's a pretty bad lift. But I still did it with straps, of course. But I wasn't healthy. If I'd stayed like that, who knows what kind of problems I would have encountered now. It's just not something you need to do. There are ways to build muscle while still ensuring your cardiovascular health is good and while still being relatively lean. Some people with the right genetics can be super lean and still build muscle. We know far more now, and there are so many articles and videos you can watch that will tell you how to do it. Do not overbulk. You don't have to be eating 4,500, 5,000 calories a day. Some people do, depending on your size, but the average dude does not need that much food in their mouth just to put on some kind of size. And again, you will, but so much of it will be fat. I wasn't happy at the time. It took me a long while to figure it out, but as soon as I had done, I was like, I don't need this anymore. And not only did I feel better mentally, I felt better physically, and I think I'm in a much better place now because of understanding this. Number 4 is ignoring fruit and vegetables. Like, everyone says it. Get your 5 a day, get your 5 a day. Well, if you're lifting weights, which can compromise your immune system, can also help it, you should be getting more than 5 a day. Of course you should. But I bought into this whole nonsense like, fructose, like, the devil. The fructose. Like, it doesn't matter. Fruit is good for you. Vegetables is really good for you. Make sure you're getting as much in as you possibly can. Again, don't overeat, but no one really ever got fat off eating lettuce, although it is possible. But you need those nutrients in your life, not just for fitness, but for your overall health. We're all going to get old. Anything we can do now to try and fight back against that, because Father Time's going to kick our ass regardless, you absolutely should do. You can eat fructose, you will be okay. You can eat carrots, you will be okay. I remember I saw a documentary, it was years ago, and now it would be just be debunked, where all these bodybuilders were like, I don't eat carrots because they've got sugar in. I mean, if you're trying to get super lean for a competition, sure. But this guy was just making out like it was a bad idea. Have a flipping carrot. Bugs Bunny ate it, so can you.
Carrots are to find, you get a dozen for a dime, it's magic.
And number 3 ties into sort of other things that we've said. Because I trained and because I was exercising, I kind of thought that meant I could make huge changes with my diet, or try and cheat on my diet. Not really cheating on my diet, and that would be okay. I used to get up and have scones for breakfast, or a scone, whichever one you want to use. Why did I do this? Why am I eating scones for breakfast? I don't know. It's not like I buttered them up with cream and jam. I would just have them as a source of carbohydrate. I suppose, again, it's calories in, calories out, but that's not what you want to be doing. You don't want to be eating scones, but I totally believed I can eat whatever I want because I go to the gym and I lift weights and my body will just deal with it. And that's really, really stupid. And a lot of people will hear that and go, Simon, that sounds absolutely stupid. I was stupid. And I was doing that and also having one cheat meal a week, which probably contributed to me putting on all this bad weight. That's not how it works. Unfortunately, if you are super into fitness, it requires some form of sacrifice. Otherwise, everybody would do it, right? If it was just a case of going to the gym and lifting some weights and you're big jacked, 99% of people would do it. You do have to have some sacrifices, but that's why it's good to watch people like Greg Dissett and Athlean-X and whoever else is out there who will give you meal plans that include food that you'll enjoy, which is another huge tip I'll throw out there. Get a diet that you enjoy, and then you won't cheat on your diet, and you'll be happier. Number 2 is obsessing over this whole you must eat every 2 to 3 hours. The window of opportunity. Now, yes, if you do that, it's going to be good because you're going to keep your metabolism stoked, so maybe it will work a little bit better. But we are talking 1 to 2%. As long as you are getting your required calories in throughout a day, whatever that may be, you can kind of take them in however you want. I like eating throughout the day because it means I get to eat and I enjoy the activity of eating. I'm a disgusting person. But some people do the warrior diet where they just get all their food in one meal. You can do that. There's intermittent fasting. There's just eating 3 meals a day. You have to find what works for you, but do not get into a pattern like I did, where I'd look at the watch and I'd eat it at 12 and it was coming up to 3 p.m. and I'd be freaking out, going, oh my gosh, I need to eat. I would pull over into service stations and I would just get some milk and drink it because I felt like I was going to lose all my muscle if I didn't eat within this 3 hours. That is preposterous and that is idiotic, and somebody should have taken my head and flushed it into a toilet just to try and wake me up. And even then I wouldn't have believed you. That is just not how it works. Your body, it's quite adaptive to begin with. But if you are losing muscle at that rate, you probably have a health issue you should sort out. If you want to do 2 to 3 hours, do it. If you want to do 3 meals a day, do it. Figure out your calorific totals and just make sure you hit it. Whatever works for you, and again, whatever puts a smile on your face. And number 1 is not enjoying it. I know that sounds silly, but again, there were times in my life where I put so much pressure on myself to stick to my diet, to go to the gym, to do this, to do that I wasn't enjoying it at all because I made it too much like hard work. And there is there's a lot of hard work involved, but I want it to be hard work that I enjoy. There was a good few years there where I took it so seriously and I was so wound up, like we talked about in number 2, that it ruined the experience. And why do it if it's going to do that? Mental health and fitness is what we're talking about here. The mental side may be being more important. I want to look good, but I want to feel good. And I didn't because I was beating myself up and feeling guilty all the time. You shouldn't do that. And that goes down to cheating on your diet or whatever it is that we all fall off the wagon. We all make a mistake. Just make sure you get back on and somehow find a way to keep your motivation in check. I really, really regret that now looking. I don't regret it because it was important for me to get here today. But if I could go back in time in the DeLorean with Doc Brown and have a chat with myself, I would say, man, you're taking it too seriously. It's just lifting weights. It is important to you and you're passionate about it, so make sure you enjoy it. But there's that key word. You're not. Change it up. So there you go. There's just some mistakes I've made over the last 20 years or so in bodybuilding. Don't do any of them. And if you have, don't worry about it. You can change, like I've already said, you can change it right now and you'll be on a better path. Like the video, share the video, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, ding ding. I'd appreciate that. Patreon.com/Simon316 if you want to support in a different way. I've got Instagram and Twitter at Simon316. Look in that description. There's a load of links. Have a click, have a look. I'll see you soon.